Círoבין, Perik Sheni, Mishnah Aleph. In this Mishnah, we discuss a special dispensation of Chazal for those who are Olei L'Regel, those who came up L'Regel, and they used to come to wells, biroas, and had to draw water from the well. The well, being 10 tefachim deep and having the dimensions of Daled Amos by Daled Amos, would be a Reshus HaYochid. And therefore, if one were to draw water from the well to give water to one's animals, then one would be drawing from a Reshus HaYochid, taking out into a Reshus HaRabim. And therefore, we need to make some sort of takona. And the Chazal, in their wisdom, decided to make a takona, that you make some sort of Reshus HaYochid surrounding the actual well. In this particular model here, we've got the well in the middle of a compound, and the Chazal said that you can make notional mechitzas by taking two amudim, putting them at right angles together like this, and putting it at each of the four corners surrounding the well. These two amudim are called diyumdin, which is diyu meaning two, and amud, an amalgamation of two words, diyu and amud, diyumdin, meaning two columns of wood, two pillars of wood at right angles to each other. The problem with such an arrangement is, if we put them on all four corners, there are gaps between the diyumdin, and we've learnt in the previous Perik that these gaps, if they are less than 10 tefachim, then they could be considered to be a Pesach. If they're more than 10 tefachim, they are considered to be a Pirza. And what is more, even gaps which are less than 10 tefachim, however, if the sum total of the openings is greater than that of the amudim, we call porutz merubo al ha'omed, that invalidates the mechitzo. The din of porutz merubo al ha'omed evidently is a din d'Rabbanan, and the Chachomim decided that in the case of pasin biroas, a special takona for the Olei Regolim, that we can override, if you like, the rule of porutz merubo al ha'omed. Let us learn the Mishnah, and we'll see how these dinim are illustrated. Says the Mishnah, Osin pasin labirois, you can make pasin meaning boards to surround the wells, arbo diyumdin, four double amudim, which in fact totals nirin kishmeino, because each of these diyumdin, as I previously described, a board put at right angles to another board on all four corners, so you're utilizing four diyumdin, which looks like eight, which are composed of eight amudim. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda being of the opinion that the gap, even though it is greater than the omed, nonetheless it would be valid, mechitza, provided the gap, according to Rabbi Yehuda, as we will see in a moment, is not more than 13 1/3 amos. It will be seen in a moment. Rab Meir says, Shmoina nirin kishnei moso. Rabbi Meir is of the opinion that sometimes you'd have to have a further omud in the middle of each side, like this, at each side, because Rabbi Meir is of the opinion that the gaps can only be 10 amos or less. If they're more than 10 amos, you have to make another tikkun, as will be described in a moment. That is 8 amudin, or 8 diyumdin if you like, nirin kishnei moso, because the 4 in the corners count as 2, so you've got 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1, 2, 3, 4. On each of the sides, you stick in the middle of the side, you'll stick in another omud. that is arbo diumdin ve'arbo pushutin, 4 double amudim at right angles and 4 simple amudim, straightforward amudim. Govon asora tefochim, these amudim would have to be a minimum of 10 tefochim high to be valid as a mechitzo. V'rochbon, and the width should be shisho tefochim, the width must be at least an amo, at least 1 amo. V'ovyon kolshu, the thickness of these amudim can be a kolshu, there's no particular requirement of any thickness. Uveineim kimelo shtei ravokos shel sholosh boko divrei Rabbi Meir. The gaps in between the diumdin, according to Rabbi Meir, the gaps can be of shtei ravokos, 2 teams of herd, 3 plus 3, that is 6 boko, and the Mishnah will describe that 1 boko facing 1 ox facing one way, 1 ox facing the other way, so a 6, and the Chazal say that the width requirement for 1 ox is 1 2/3 amos, so 6 times 1 2/3 would be a gap of 10 amos. So the gap between each of the columns must not be wider than 10 amos. So if, let us say, between this diumud on one corner and diumud on the other corner, the gap is more than 10 amos, then you would need an omud in the middle to reduce the size of the gaps. Even though it's the porous area, the amount of the breaches is greater than the omed, we Chacham said in this particular instance, because of the Ole Regolim, since the din of porous meruba ala omed is a din drabonon, hey omru they were mesakein, that it doesn't matter where you have porous meruba ala omed in the case of the Ole Regolim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion, shel arba, that is, these ravokos, these 2 teams are made up of 4 plus 4, means 8 ravokos. 8 ravokos, 8 times 1 2/3 amos for each ox would be a total of 13 1/3. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, we could remove the middle amud, and as long as this gap is less than 13 1/3 amos, then we consider it to be enclosed. And then the Mishnah says, Kashuros velo mutoros, these oxen are tied rather than left loose. Achas nichneses, one facing inward, achas yotzes, and one facing outward, and that thereby to accommodate the space of the either, according to Rabbi Meir, 3 plus 3, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, 4 plus 4, you get the gap either being of 10 amos or of 13 1/3 amos, and this measure of 10 amos and 13 1/3 amos was described in terms of 2 ravokos, 2 teams of oxen, one going in, one going out, either 2 teams of 3 plus 3 or 2 teams 4 plus 4. And this, as I say, was a special heter which was allowed for the Ole Regolim, that even though we've got mechitzas in the corners, but the gaps are porutz meruba ala omed, but for Ole Regolim, Chazal said we can dispense with porutz meruba ala omed. How wide the gaps have to be is a machlokas between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah, thank you.